Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome back to Fatherhood Unleashed. Thank you so much for joining us again tonight. We had the first session, it was so insightful, so many key takeaways, and I'm just so glad that we're able to do this with our fathers. So, this is another exciting and expository session that we're also going to learn a lot from. So if you know any father who needs to be here, or even if these people are not fathers yet, mothers, everyone is welcome to attend, because we are talking about issues that will help us raise well-balanced children who can thrive in today's world. So this is not just for a particular set of stakeholders, it is everyone's job, right? So please share the link so that we can have people get access to this conversation. In this session, we're going to be talking about the influence of fathers shaping a child's life for better or worse. I mean, fathers are so important that their presence can either make or destroy the life of a child. And it's been mothers at the forefront. We need to understand that. We need to understand that the fathers as well need to be given their place. And sometimes I remember a conversation like this that I had with some mothers, and we realized that from the feedback, some fathers actually want to be at the forefront, but sometimes the moms just feel like the dads cannot get their act together. They just feel like, oh, the dads cannot do as much as they can. The dad is trying to change the diaper and they're still like, let me do it, and all of that. So these were some of the feedback that we got from that meeting. So fathers are not assistant parents. Fathers are also as important as mothers. And that's why we are dedicating this time to create this awareness that fathers need to also be at the forefront, as regards parenting. So I have with us a very seasoned parenting development expert who will be doing justice to this topic in this session. But before I go ahead to bring him up, I will just give us a little teaser. Okay, so stay with us. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So I'm going to be introducing our guests so that we can get right in. I have with us today a parenting development expert. He is the founder, LegacyHut. Okay, so let me go on to read his profile. Mr. Akinola Akinropo is a passionate catalyst for change who has the mandate to increase the quality of parenting and the methodology of nurturing African children as well as families into greatness while maximizing their full potentials. He's an accounting graduate from the Federal Polytechnic, Ilaro, Ogun State, Nigeria. He's a member of Nigeria Institute of Management, Chartered. He had a short stretch in Mobile Producing Unlimited, Nigeria, from March 1999 to April 2001, and Reliance Bank Limited from August 2001 to April 2005, and later started a private business major in financial brokerage. He had been involved in youth counseling in his local church before he was called fully into the parenting and education ministry in 2011, which he pursues with vigor and passion till date. Akinropo Akinola has practicing certificates in public speaking, business consulting, childcare, parenting and family advocacy, and education consulting. He's a Generation Z facilitator certified from Growing Leaders, Atlanta, USA. Social and emotional learning facilitator certified from Growing Leaders, Atlanta, USA. Emotional intelligence certified from Emotion City, Nigeria. He's an associate family system engineering certification from Institute of Family Development, Nigeria. His track record on advocacy on parenting can be traced across sectors, following the need to consolidate diverse projects, efforts, and intervention within the parenting space. He's a consultant, speaker, trainer, parent coach, and also an experienced counselor. He's the author of the fast growing inspired workbook for fathers to raise real men in today's world. Boys, Daddy, Where Are You? Those are some of his books. His latest two work for mothers, Mommy, No Excuses, is also a book that focuses on mothers to know and have the strategies in complementing and not competing with their husbands in parenting and marriage. He is the founder and lead researcher, Parent Mark Consulting. With a warm welcome, please help me bring on Mr. Akinropo Akinola. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Welcome, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you also.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. So, this conversation is so important. We cannot overflow this issue because the moms are constantly on the forefront. We have fathers on the forefront as well, but there needs to be a balance because no parent is more important than the other. Both impacts need to be felt in the lives of the children. And so you're sharing with us today on the influence of fathers, how it can shape a child's life for better or for worse. So I'm going to leave you to do your thing, sir. Thank you once again for being here.
Good evening, madam. So, I want to thank everybody who have been here, who have been part of this meeting in the past few hours that the meeting had kickstarted. So, I want to thank everybody. Most especially, I want to thank the convener of this meeting, my able madam. God bless you. And also, while thanking you for championing the cause of this assignment, I will not do that without paying glowing tribute to your husband, who has been the pillar of support for you in this regard. So, when we talk of, sorry, madam, how many minutes do I have? How many hours, please?
Okay, so you have 45 minutes. 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you. 45 minutes. No, thank you.
You're
So,
welcome, sir.
when we
Sorry, sir, we cannot hear
we are
you.
talking about the capacity, the capacity every father needed to run a home. We're talking about capacity, we're talking about skills, we're talking about the ability, we are talking about the totality of a father being in the house. So when we talk about all this trajectory, we discover that there is a lot. I mean, there is one thing that almost everybody, with the exception of those people in our space, with the exception of the people in our space, almost everybody has left that critical aspect out of every man, then out of every father. So, what am I talking about? So, before we talk about strategies for fathers, before we talk about skills for fathers, before we talk about how can fathers be helpful, before we talk about how can father increase their emotional connection with their children or with the spouse or with the family, before we talk about how can fathers be always available, see, before we talk about the roles, duties, responsibilities of fathers in the home. So before we talk about the existence of a father at all, there is something that people out there always miss out. And that is where I want to start today. By starting from that today, I'm not sure whether the time will permit me to delve further into the areas that we need to cover today, which I believe that the time will not readily permit me to delve into that area, because as it is, the way I tell people is like what we are doing today is an event. Event will never build, or rather, event will never, give us the desired help that every father needs or every home needs in fatherhood or in parenting. So, what gives desired result is a process. So, how do we move from event like we are doing today to process? We move from event to process by way of taking notes of everything that has been discussed from the first speaker to the last speaker. So we create a module out of them, or we create a note out of them. I'm talking to the participants now. We create a note out of them, then all the all the key points, the bullet points that the bullets they raise, every one of them, then we now put them into practice. So that is when we can achieve the desired results. Almost everybody is excited about events like we are doing today. Almost everybody wants to be part of it. But it is not everybody that want to move from event to process. And it's from event to process, then from process to desired results. So that's why I will just do what I can do within the confinement of the time allotted me. So, before we talk about anything in fatherhood at all, what we need to know is, does every man, I'm not talking about father now, does every man has what it takes to be a man? That's the first question. Does every father, or has every father graduated from the level of being a man to the level of being a father? So, what connotes these areas of specialization that I've just explained now? Or what defines, what connects all these areas from being a man to being promoted to being a father? It is what we call and we know as being human. So before we talk about anything at all in fatherhood, I want to let us know, before any father can have the emotional strength to connect with the house, to connect with the children, to connect with the wife, and to know what he is doing, that father must first of all have been or become a human. It is being or becoming a human that shows you what to do or that prepares you what to do as a man or as a father. So the failure of every father on the duty is traceable to that father not being a human in the first place. Is traceable to that father not being a human in the first place. Because if the father had been a human in the first place, there is no problem of emotional, there won't be any problem of emotional connection with the family. There won't be a problem of being available to the children. There won't be a problem of being involved in the educational system of the home. There won't be a problem of that father scripting vision and family system for his family to run on. So the question now is, what is it being a human? Or what is being a human in fatherhood? So three things I am going to make mention of in, first of all, becoming a human as a father. The first thing is, let me put it this way: being a human means a beautiful tapestry of emotions, connections, and growth. So being a human will point any father, being a human will point any father to the area of emotion, to the knowledge, let me put it that way, to the knowledge of emotions. So we say emotional intelligence or social and emotional learning. From there, the father will know how to connect with the family. The father will know how to connect with the children. The father will know how to get involved in the life of the children and the wife and the entire family. The father will know that at a particular time in his life, he needs knowledge to move ahead in where he's going, in what he's doing, and what is expected of him. Then from there, a father will know when to move from mere traditional roles and responsibilities of a father to evolving roles of fathers. So there's a difference here. Roles and responsibilities and duties of a father, almost everybody knows that. Oh, a father is supposed to provide for the family. A father is supposed to do this. A father is supposed to protect the family. A father is supposed to point the family, to the way of the Lord, and so on and so forth that we can mention. Everybody knows that. Almost everybody knows that. So those are traditional roles. But when we talk about evolving roles, when we talk about evolving roles and responsibilities, we are talking about roles and responsibilities that are not clearly spelled out in the traditional form of who, or in the traditional form of what our fathers do, in the functions of fathers. So we are talking about from nowhere, something happens to the boy, to the children, or to a child in the home. Something happened away from what the father had planned. So how does a father respond to this? That is evolving roles. Some roles that are not readily seen in the immediate time. In the immediate time that we are reviewing, some activities, some duties, some responsibilities that are not immediately seen. So those are evolving roles. Evolving roles means a child that has been doing very well before, The father, the mother, the school, everybody knows. But all of a sudden, something happened. How does a father react to this or respond to this? So not until when a man or a father had been a human being, it's going to be pretty difficult for this man or for this father to move forward in the life, in the journey of fatherhood. And that is why you see some fathers, are getting stuck in the middle of the pack. That is when they get stuck. That's when they get discouraged, and that is one of the areas, especially the key areas where they get overwhelmed and they lose it. So it is because they've not initially found their ways in the area. I mean, their ways in being human first. So if they've not been able to find their ways in being human first, it's going to be pretty difficult for them to move forward, difficult for them to do whatever they want to do. So when we now talk about being human, what is it? Why do we need to be human? A lot of things that I've put here, I actually cropped this out from the modules that we have for fathers. So it is a module, a huge, I mean, a whole module, but because of the time, I won't be able to do everything. That's why I crop what is needed here out. Because the first thing we teach people when they come to our class is how to be human. So we send assessment to them, we play them assessment, we give it to them, we test the level of their humanity. We test what do they know about being human. So everyone who has come for this, they know their scores and they know that the next thing for them to do is to upscale their knowledge of fatherhood or in fatherhood. So to being human is to experience a remarkable level of emotions, connections, and growth that weaves together the very fabric of our existence as a father or as fathers. So being human is to experience a remarkable tapestry of emotions, connections, and growth that weaves together the very fabric of our existence. It is a journey filled with both joy and sorrow, triumphs and challenges, and an ever-present journey to find meaning and purpose in our lives. Let us explore what it truly means to be human and embrace the wonders of our shared human experience as a father. So when you put all this together, in the journey of being a human, or in the journey of being human, there are joy there. You experience joy, you experience happiness, you experience sorrow, you experience ups and downs, you experience a lot of things. You will experience them. What that areas, or rather what that stages and levels are preparing you for, I mean, what they're doing is to prepare you for being, for the ultimate level. I'm talking as a man now, ultimate level of being a father. Ultimate level of being a father. So the question now is, when we look at this first sentence or the first paragraph of the module that I've cropped out now, how many of us fathers have passed this level? 15 years ago, I didn't know anything about fatherhood. Excuse me. Excuse me. So 15 years ago, even though I'd been a father for the past 20 years, but 15 years ago, I didn't know anything about I didn't know anything about fatherhood. The first 5 years of my marriage, it was trial and error because I didn't know what it means to be a human. I don't know what it means at all. I just felt that, it was time for me. It was time for me to get married. I was old enough to get married because I was 30 going to 31. I was old enough to get married, and it was just time for me to do, and I did. right? And even at that particular time, your mother or your father, uncles around you, they begin to give you a nudge. They begin to nudge you that what is happening to you? Are you really a man at all? Are you really a man at all? So that was what happened to me. I did not know what it means to be. I didn't know what I'm supposed to do as a man or as a father. So, in the level of being a human, the next thing that you must do in that level is, before anything at all, what value drives you? What value drives you as a human? You must first of all know what value drives you as a human before we begin to talk about the involvement of a father. Before we begin to talk about strategies that every father must have, before we begin to talk about how can fathers be involved in the life of the children. How can they be involved in the life of the children? So while I'm talking about this value now, and I want to drive it home with a metaphor. I want to drive it home with a metaphor. And the metaphor I want to use is simple. The metaphor is GPS or compass. Every one of us knows what GPS do or does. Every one of us knows, and every one of us knows what compass does, right? Okay, now, as a man who has experienced being a human, right? And I spoke about value. Then what drives the value is the metaphor I want to use. So when we are going on a journey that has been determined, on a journey that has been scheduled, on a journey that everybody knows that that the person knows that I want to go on this path. What do? We know where we are going, right? So the next thing we use is to use GPS. GPS will give us the insight of how far that journey is. It will give us the location. It will give us like, oh, before you get to this place, you're going to spend like 1 minute, 1 hour. You're going to spend like 20 minutes. You're going to spend like 45 minutes. You're going to spend like 2 hours, 3 hours. And when you get to that particular area, the GPS, right? GPS will show you the location. And the reason why GPS is doing that is because the area where you are going has been paved. The area where you are going has been linked to the internet. The area where you are going is linked to Google. The area where you are going is structured. You don't need to ask anybody. That is what GPS will do for you. But what will compass do, or what is the difference? What is the difference between the usage of a compass and a GPS in a journey? It is simple. What does compass do? Compass will function anywhere, both the area that has been structured very well, the areas that have been paved effectively, those areas that had been linked to Google, and areas that have not been linked to Google. But GPS will not work in the area that has not been linked to Google. Let me break it down now. How many times have we got into a particular environment and we try to use Google Map? It refuses to work. How many times? It has happened to me before. I've been to a particular some areas. I've been to some areas in the past 6 months. I mean, some towns in Nigeria in the past 6 months. I've been there, and I discovered that the Google map didn't work. The Google map didn't work. Why did it not work? It didn't work because that area was not linked to Google. It was just offline, offline, offline. Area, I mean, the location unknown. But if it was compass that I have around me, compass will show me the north, the west, the east, and the south. So if I want to go to a particular area now, if I want to go to a particular area, if that place had not been paved, if the place had not been structured, all I need to ask some people in that place is the location. So if I'm going, I mean, a typical traveler will always go with the map. So just drop the compass on the face of the map. It will point to the north, west, south, east. Then from there, you follow it. Then you go to where you are going. I mean, you embark on your journey. So how does this metaphor relate to the journey of fatherhood? How does it relate to being human before we become a father? It helps us to define our journey. So what that means is when you get to a particular level, when you get to an area that is not that you are not familiar with, every one of us, we have never been fathers before. We were men, we were single. We have never been given the responsibility. Maybe some of us have never been given the responsibility to be responsible or to be accountable to somebody. Some of us have never been given that responsibility before. But now, a woman comes into your life. Children begin to flock into your home. How do you relate with them? So in that terrain, you are not going to, as a traveler embarking on a journey, you are not going to make use of a GPS because you don't know what you are doing. You have never had the experience of being a father before. You have never had the experience of being a husband before. So everything to you is new. So what now guides your behavior? What guides your attitude? What guides your relationship skill? What guides your attitude? What guides your movement? What guides your spiritual upliftment? What guides your, how do you maximize every opportunity that comes across you? How do you maximize every blessing that comes across to you on your new path, on that new journey of fatherhood? The first thing that will make you to maximize that opportunity are the values that drive you. So GPS works in a limited version, while compass works on an expanded version. You arming yourself with compass on the journey of fatherhood says you must dictate or script values that define you. So it is the value that define you that will shape your journey, and that is what compass do. That is what compass will do. GPS has limited functionality only to the areas that has been structured, the areas that have been paved alone. But journey that have not been structured, that have not been paved, that has not been linked to Google, GPS won't work there. What works there is compass. So for every father who has experienced what is it like to be a human, will have a compass in the journey, and that compass represents your value system. So I want us to pay attention to this very well. I want us to pay attention to this very well. This is what everybody in the journey of fatherhood needs. So your value determines, excuse me, your values determine your friends. Who are your friends as a father? Before I scripted my value, which I update almost every year. Updating does not mean I add to it. I don't add to it. I've scripted it, I've scripted it. Updating means that once in a while, I fall short of these values. I fall short of them because of the activities of my subconscious mind. Because the way we have been wired, every one of us is a product of our early emotional life. Regardless of any value that we have scripted, the fact that we didn't script it early enough, unless if we had scripted it when we were like 25 or 30. So by the time we are 50 or 45, it's possible that we have perfected everything, that it's going to be pretty difficult for anything to alter the trajectory of that value. But if you just scripted your value in the last 5 years, 10 years, you need to keep updating yourself. You need to keep renewing your mind. So the first thing your value will do for you, your value will choose your friend for you as a father. Your value will choose your friend for you as a father. Your value will choose your character. So let me just first of all go to that, will choose your friends for you. So who are you accountable to in the journey of fatherhood? They could be your friends. You could be older than them, but they are emotionally or mentally higher than you or strengthened than you. So who are they in your life? Who are these people in your life? Who are they such that their activities really define you? Such that the way they behave is almost the same way as you behave. So before I did this, I was saying it the other time, almost everybody was my friend. Once I just know that, oh, this person connect, and this person, that I'm connected with this person. I didn't have any clearly defined value system. It was just the normal thing for me to just go anywhere. Just go the way everybody is going. It's okay. And that was why my journey as a father, the first 5 years of my marriage was just trial and error. But it is just the grace, the help, and mercy of God that reconnected me back after the first 5 years. And that was when I began to script my journey. That was when I started intentional fatherhood. I'd not started the ministry of parenting then. No, I haven't started. This journey of parenting, ministry, the professional job started fully in 2011 and to date. And that is what we still do till tomorrow, till the coming of the Lord. So I had several challenges because I didn't know what it meant to have a value, what value system is all about. So it will choose your friend, it will choose your character, and it will choose where you are going. So I want to ask every father here listening, where are you going as a father? Are you just going? Are you just a father just because you are old enough to begin to raise children or to be a husband? Where are you going? So where you are going will define your vision. Where you are going will define your vision. Let me say this. Before I got married, before I started to have children, where I was going, I knew. but it was vague. And I will tell you why it was vague. It was vague because I did not have clear path on how to achieve where I was going. And let me share it, which is almost the desire of everybody, every young man, everyone who has come of age. Once you reach age 25, 26, 27, you will know that you want to succeed in life. You will know that you want to be big in life, that you want to be a billionaire. You will know. Almost everybody loves money now. You love good life. Everybody loves to live in a better city. Everybody loves to ride a new car. Everybody loves to earn millions. Everybody. But the question is, does that mean they love to have big money, they love to live a better life, naturally translates to you having the clear-cut strategies to achieve it? No. And that's why they say that if wishes were horses, beggars will ride. Right? So not everybody has that. So that was the category I fell into at my early stage. I knew that I wanted to be big. I love money. I wanted to be in a big environment, in a nice environment. But I lacked the clear-cut strategy to achieve those. Mind you, I was carrying GPS into the marriage. Like they always say, you enter into the marriage, or you get you receive the certificate before you enter into the marriage, and that is the certificate of marriage, when we go to registry. But I entered into an unfamiliar terrain with a GPS, not with a compass. I entered into it with a GPS because the marriage that I entered to, no manual. I did not have any manual. The fatherhood I entered into, I did not have any manual. So GPS will only work where there was a manual. Oh, I love this. GPS will only work where there was a manual. And that is why a GPS will work in Lagos State. Lagos State, Nigeria. A GPS will work in London, England. A GPS will work in New York, United States of America. And that's why a GPS will not work in a particular town in Oyo State. The only thing that will work there is a compass. So I was supposed to use a compass at early stage of my life. As a father, I was carrying GPS. It didn't work because there was no manual. I didn't go into marriage with any manual. I didn't go into fatherhood with any manual. So everything was in a total mess. I didn't choose my friend. Rather, my friend chose me. I didn't choose my characters. My characters chose me. I didn't know where I was going, and every area was looking like a destination to me. Every area was looking like a destination to me. So when you have your compass, you have scripted your value. You have your value as your values have chosen you, your friends. Your values have chosen your character. Your values have chosen you where you are going. You know where you are going. The next thing your value will do for you, which is a compass, is to script your vision for you. When it scripts your vision for you, you will have clear-cut strategies on how to achieve that vision as a father. It will give you how to achieve that vision as a father. Don't forget, almost everybody believes that he wants to be rich in life. Almost everybody believes that he wants to bring up children. Almost everybody will tell you, I want to nurture, I want to raise my children in a godly way. That one is so common. And I love that. There's nothing wrong in it. God help us to raise godly children. Oh, God help us to raise our children who stand at the gate of the enemy. Oh, God help us to do, God help us, God help us to do. Almost everybody knows that. It's in the lips of everybody, almost everybody. But does that mean everybody knows how or has clear-cut strategy to achieve the vision or to achieve where they're going? And let me now say this: when my own boomerang, the first 5 years was a mess. It was a mess. It was just trial and error. So by 10th year, when I'd already realized my follies, my stupidity, my foolishness, right? I had to call everybody in my home, my wife and the two children. I had to call them. I made them realize my stupidity, that I knew I wanted good life for them early enough, but I lacked clear-cut strategies. Even 5 years ago, when we reviewed our vision, when we reviewed it, I still told them that this was late for us to achieve because of how I started. I was open enough to them, and I apologize. But going forward, it's going to be great. And it's been great almost every day in the journey of fatherhood with my children and as a husband to my wife, because everything has been rescripted. I've discarded the GPS. I armed myself with a compass. So compass, at any point in time, when you get to unfamiliar terrain, and let me tell you this, in the journey of fatherhood, there will always be unfamiliar terrain, and that is where your roles are evolving. That's why your roles are no longer traditional roles. That's why your roles are no longer about providing the money. That's why your roles are no longer about protecting the children and the wife. That's why your role is not about even pointing them to the way of God, taking them to church, taking them to mosque, or taking them to shrine. That's why your roles are not just limited to that alone. Your roles are evolving. Many things will happen that are not part of the vision you had even scripted. Many things will happen, but your compass will always find the north of the problem, the west of the problem, the east of the problem, and the south of the problem. And that is the seed of humanity that has been planted in your life, will always give you the direction. Don't forget 3 things I attributed to being human. The first one is emotions. The second one is connections. And the third one is growth, which is the last one. So if the humanity is lacking in every father, the father lacks emotion. The father lacks connections. And when you lack emotion and connection, growth will be miserable. Instead of growth, it's something that will be there. So when we look at this, you will always know that you carry your GPS, you carry your compass every area you go. The reason why you need to carry your compass, first of all, is for you to become human. Then after you are human, you carry your compass. Your compass will script your value for you. Your value will determine, your value will show the friends, or will choose your friends for you. Your value will choose love for you. Yes. Your value will choose how to connect with your children, because that is the same thing that your children are watching. It's a mirror effect. It's a mirror effect. So the characters are there. Then your value will script your vision. After your value had scripted your vision, your value again will choose you strategies on how to achieve that vision. So when you look at every other strategies or every other aspect of fatherhood that we want fatherhood to excel, and it is not out of place in these days that you begin to hear some seminars, hear people in the seminar, or the title of a seminar, strategies to win fatherhood to win children unto yourself in 21st century. What is it again? How fathers can be involved in the life of the children. Every one of them has its roots in the success of, first of all, being a human. If we are not human first, it's going to be difficult for us to learn any strategy. It's going to be difficult for us to learn any skill. And my sister will know, in our corner, in our space, the first thing we introduce participants to, is to carry out assessment. When you carry out assessment, you know the level of everybody, because everybody is not going to learn at the same pace. So that would determine how everybody is going to learn in the journey of fatherhood. So the first thing you need to do, first of all, become a human. When you become a human, then you have access to your compass. You discard the GPS because your parents handed over GPS to you. They handed over GPS to you when you were going to university. They handed over GPS to you when you were going to secondary school, then when you're going to university. When you even started your work, you met GPS in your working place. Why is this so? You have the manual you're going to work with in your working place. You have somebody that you are reporting to. That's a GPS. You have somebody that you are accountable to. That's a GPS. Because your workplace is structured. Your workplace is paved. So your GPS will work perfectly in that workplace. But you have never been a father before. You have never been a husband before. So you don't have the manual, except people who have obtained their manual before they go into marriage or before they go into fatherhood. So if you have not obtained your manual before you go into fatherhood, carry GPS into fatherhood is meaningless. Your GPS is how you were raised. Your GPS is the pattern you were raised with. Your GPS are culture, belief system that have been passed down to you from about maybe 250 years, your ancestors. So the same thing was handed over to you. It's a GPS. But don't forget, I told you, GPS will not work in an unfamiliar terrain. The woman that is coming into your life had never lived with you before. Hey, the children that are coming into your life had never lived with you before. The environment, perspectives, experiences of your wife that you have brought in, of the children that are coming into your life, are different from the experiences, perspective, and environment that seeded you, environment that handed over GPS to you. So you can see, you can't but have your compass. And don't forget, your compass represents your value. So when you have this, then you now have the key to access strategies to become great fathers, to access skills of 21st century fatherhood. So you now have keys to almost everything. But first of all, you need to debauch yourself. You need to detoxify yourself from toxic childhood experiences that you lived with. And that part of toxic childhood experience you lived with is the GPS that they handed over to you. The GPS they handed over to you will not work in this new terrain that you have found yourself, a terrain that you have never been before. So let me stop here now. So let me now see if we are going to have any question, and let me now answer the question. Don't forget, let me run through it again in the next 1 minute, then I'm done with that. The core of the matter is, before any strategy at all, before any involvement at all, before how fathers can connect at all, before how father can do this at all, you must first of all be a human. When you be a human, being a human will give you direct access to compass. When you have the compass will afford you the opportunity to script your value. When you script your value, you choose your friend in your fatherhood. Your friend will determine how far you can go. You choose your friend, you choose your environment, you choose your character, you choose how far you want your children to go in life. You choose the family system you want to raise. When we want to talk about family system again, family system is not something you can talk, you can discuss in like 1 hour or even a week. It's a whole stretch of module. So your compass will choose you vision, and it will choose you strategies to achieve that vision. And lastly, your compass will give you legacy. So for everything you want to become in life as a father, you need to leave a lasting legacy. A legacy that your children will carry thereafter you. And that legacy is not, first of all, the immediate benefit of you and the generation that are coming behind you, but of the entire society. So thank you. Let me take questions now.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a lot compressed. I know that if we have much more time, you can. This is a whole workshop itself. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing from your wealth of experience. Thank you, thank you. So I'm going to ask a question. Um, you know, I know that lots of people are still going to catch up with the replay. And from experience, one of the questions that keep coming up over and over again is the issue of the impact of um, a person's childhood on their parenting journey. And gladly, you mentioned that you said one should, or fathers should detoxify themselves from toxic childhood experiences. It leaves a lot of indelible impact in the lives of their children because it's now a cycle. They have come into parenthood with their own toxic, experiences. And if nothing is done, they carry the same experiences and project it into the lives of their children. So, what would you say is a good strategy to detoxify oneself or from a toxic childhood? So, the fathers who are listening, or any parent who is listening, what can they do? What would be at least 1, 2, 3 steps they can take to detoxify themselves from their toxic childhood experiences? We all know the African father and mother style, where there were lots of harsh treatments just to drive home the point. So, how can we go about this?
Okay, thank you, man. So the first step for us to do to detoxify ourselves from toxic childhood experiences that we lived or grew up with is for us to find, for every father to find a supportive environment, a supportive system. You see, I won't say subject yourself to training. No, I used to believe this. But when we invest our life in research, we discover that almost every father uh, is not afraid, to go for training. But the problem that they go to, that stare them in the face is where they can belong, a community they can belong, where they will not be judged or condemned, a community whereby every father will say, "This is who I am." A community where every father is vulnerable, and nobody is going to abuse, he's going to condemn or judge you because of your vulnerability. A community where every father will say that, "Hey, this is what is happening to me. Who is going to help me here?" So the first thing that every father must do first is to get a supportive community to belong. A supportive community to belong. And your community doesn't necessarily mean you have to look for a particular place that is big. "Oh, this is where I belong." No, you could start by choosing somebody that you are accountable to, somebody that will not judge you, condemn you, or abuse you, or make fun or make jest of you, somebody who will not make your vulnerability a subject matter on social media, on the pages of Facebook or newspaper or Twitter. So look for that person, open up to that person, open up that this is me. This is what I am facing currently in my life as a father. This is how I was raised. Please, what can be done? How can I find myself back? You see, when we do that, our minds are open to opportunities. That is when our mind will be open to training. That is why our mind will be open to the fact that the way I was raised is quite different from the reality of today. That is when our eyes will now open to begin to tick boxes. What do I need to do? What has made me? What characters seeded me? What characters raised me? Who are the actors who raised me when I was in my compound, when I was when I was with my parents? Who were these characters? What were the characters of these characters? What were the values of these characters? How did this character live their life? So when we do that, that is when our life can now be open to training. So first of all, what this is, I'm speaking from the result of a little research I did 3 years ago, that why don't we have fathers coming out for training the same way we have mothers? And the first thing on the mark, the first thing there is fathers are looking for supportive community where they can express themselves, where they can talk. It's not where they can be trained, because it's only a mind that has been renewed that can be trained. So you can't just tell somebody whose mind has not been renewed that you need fatherhood training. The person will just be looking at you like this. What type of training did my father have before he raised me? That is what the person will tell you. But the first area, environment first, is for those fathers to look for a supportive community where their voices can be heard, without any sense of judgment or condemnation.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, sir. Thank you. And I believe this is going to be like a game changer for, lots of people. And even for those of us, in this path, in the family niche, this is also like a wake-up call for, especially for the fathers, in our midst. Fathers are looking for safe spaces where they can just be themselves, where they can be vulnerable. So, this is something that somebody can also take up as well. While Some of us are focusing on mothers, we want more people to also focus on building communities that fathers can, go into and just be themselves, get their minds renewed, like you said, so that that training can happen, because that training really needs to happen. A lot of things, toxicity that has been installed, need to be uninstalled for the sake of the children that we are dealing with today. Wow, this has been so, so powerful. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing with us. I particularly love the GPS and the compass analysis. I'm going to come back for more of that explanation. I really loved it. Thank you so much, sir. And I believe that our audience have gleaned a lot of lessons from this session. I want to say a big thank you to you, sir, for taking time out to be with us tonight. We do not take it for granted, and we really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we pray that you will continue to make impact, greater impact in your sphere of influence. Thank you very much, sir. And
Can I say
okay,
something before I take my leave?
all right, sir. Go ahead, please.
So, if we have any mother here present on this show, I want to appreciate your sacrifices, your commitment to fatherhood. If you have single parents who are mothers, I want to appreciate you. If you have men, single father, and single men who are single parents, I want to appreciate you. But my appeal goes to the mothers in the house. Please, please, you have been supporting us, fathers. Continue to support. Please continue to support. Your strength will continue to grow. Why am I saying this? So last month I was part of a panel on a topic, fatherhood. Fatherhood. And after we've all have spoken, there was one man, elderly man. The man is a son, senior advocate of Nigeria, and is 65 years of age. The man said, having said all, he said, no father can succeed in the journey of fatherhood without 100% of the wife. Let me say that again. No father can achieve remarkable success in the journey of fatherhood without 100% support in all ramifications of the wife. The man said there is no father. He said, regardless of how strong the man is, if the wife is not supporting him emotionally, spiritually, physically, bodily, and otherwise, that there will not be any success. So anywhere I go, I always want to end my presentation with this advice. I want to beg every mother here, please continue to support us so that we all can have and achieve the remarkable success we want in parenting and fatherhood. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, sir, for that final word. Thank you, thank you. That needed to be sounded. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, I mean, I see the comments, we've had a great time, learning from you tonight. And I believe that for those who are going to watch the replay, they would also get their own share of the insights that we have gotten here tonight. Thank you so much, Mr. Akinropo. We are
Thank
so glad for the knowledge you've shared with us tonight. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful night rest. Thank you. Bye for now. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. That was so, so good. I mean, with parenting, you can't know too much, like, because the world is evolving, The children are showing you different sides on a daily basis, and so we need to also constantly upgrade our knowledge when it comes to parenting. This has been so good from the first session to this one. I have learned a lot as well. And I really want to appreciate once again our speakers, Mr. Efe Emore and Mr. Akinropo Akinola, and to our amazing audience, Thrive Family Network. I see you all over. Thank you so much for being here. Alrighty, so um, we're going to shut down the session now. We continue again tomorrow where we have Mr. Deji Showme and Mr. Oladapo Filani. They'll be sharing with us their own experiences as well. Like I said, this event is totally dedicated to the fathers, and I believe that this is going to also create some form of impact in one way or the other in the lives of fathers. Thank you so much for staying with us from 6:30 p.m. I'll see you all tomorrow. It's bye for now.